My name's Ben Buckland, I'm 35 and I'm from Australia. So I have quite a long title. I'm the advisor on national human rights institutions at the Association for Prevention of Torture. I did a 4-year Bachelor of Arts in Political Science at the University of Melbourne in Australia, and then I did a Master's in International Affairs over 2 years here in Geneva at the Graduate Institute. I work with national human rights institutions, which is a kind of institution set up by governments to independently oversee and implement a state's international human rights obligations at the national level. I help them to work on a range of torture prevention issues, including how they can better monitor places of detention, investigate allegations of torture, or work on other issues like how they can train the police or prison officials, how they can work on specific issues like pretrial detention. And we also work with governments and civil societies where those institutions maybe don't exist or where they're weak, to help them get set up or to help reform them to make them stronger. For me, the perfect job is one where I work with really good people. It's one where I keep learning throughout my career, and it's one where I do something that I think is meaningful. And I think the first two things you can find in a lot of careers. You can find good people everywhere, and you can find jobs that are interesting and make you think and make you learn. But for me, there's nothing more meaningful than working on human rights and in particular on torture prevention. So I think you have to be quite independent. We're a small team and we're often traveling to different places, and when you're in those places you can't always call your boss and say, what do I have to do? So being able to be independent and to be flexible. Human rights, we have a plan at the moment. We're writing our strategic plan for the next few years, but there's always things that happen, things that change, that you have to be able to respond to. So being able to work flexibly is really important. And also being able to work with other people, not just our colleagues here at APT, but also the staff of national human rights institutions around the world, civil society, being able to engage with people from different cultures and different backgrounds and different societies. So I think some of the positives, as I said, are the fact that every day I'm coming to work doing something that I believe is really important and really, really meaningful. And I think the kinds of people that are drawn to this kind of profession, because they think they're doing something meaningful, they're so engaged. So when I meet my colleagues, they're really putting all of their efforts and all of their attention onto the subject at hand. And I find that kind of energy that I get from the people that I work with really exciting and really, really motivating. One of the negative effects, of course, of doing something that you really believe in is that when you go on holiday and when you go away on the weekend, sometimes it's hard to forget about it, because it's not like torture stops on the weekend. It's not like torture stops when you're on holidays. So sometimes it's hard to completely leave it aside, and work can creep into your personal life from time to time too. I think they all have an impact, and I think they're all different, but to give one really recent example, I came back yesterday from Cameroon in Central Africa, where we had the closing meeting for a 3-year project that we've done with national human rights institutions from all over Africa, from 44 countries. And what was exciting, in the project we did workshops and training, different activities with national human rights institutions. But what's exciting at the end of the project is to see all the different and creative and unexpected ways that they took what they learned from the project and implemented it in their own countries in ways that we could not really have expected. International International Geneva, it's a meeting place, and for human rights, it's one of the most important meeting places. I think what is exciting here, I mean, we all travel a lot in our work, but even if you never traveled, almost all the people that you want to meet and that are working in this area eventually come to you, and that's really exciting. Everyone is here. So I grew up in Tasmania, which is a little island off the south coast of Australia. It's really the end of the world, and when I grew up I didn't know that this kind of job existed, and for the first 16 years of my life I only visited one country. I stayed in Australia, and in the next 16 I went to more than 80. And I think if you're a young person who is interested in the world, is interested in the international sphere, there's no other job that can really open up your world like working in this one can. And not just allow you to see the world, but allow you to interact with people from different cultures and different societies in a really meaningful and interesting way.